I'm First Alert meteorologist Brittany Ship. We just finished reading The Meteorologist and Me, and now it's time to see where a meteorologist works. How do we define the weather? Webster's Dictionary, or Google, defines weather as the state of the atmosphere. Depending on which part of the world you live in, you could experience hurricanes, dust storms, snow, thunder snow.
Oh, yes! 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 We got it, baby!
Ice storms, rainbows, double rainbows.
Double rainbow. Oh, my God.
And then there's tornadoes, water spouts, fire tornadoes, even hail.
Here's the windshield.
Fog, severe thunderstorms with lightning, heavy rain, and flash flooding. I want to welcome you to the CTC, the Comcast Technology Center. It is now the tallest building in Philadelphia. Standing over 1,000 feet tall, way taller than the Statue of Liberty and even taller than the Eiffel Tower. One step into the lobby and it feels like you are in the future. There are trees inside the building, cool art, and scrolling stories on the ceiling. Once you take the elevator up to the 12th floor, we are now standing in the heart of our new home, our 3-level newsroom and studios for NBC 10 and Telemundo 62. Inside our studios, it's all about the monitors. Look at this 4K monitor behind the anchor desk. It's more than 10 feet tall. Can you imagine having a TV like that at home? We use it as a window to see the weather outside. It helps us communicate what you can expect when you step outside. Things are changing in the weather department. We don't use green screens anymore. We use large monitors. Plus, we are taking another step into the future with augmented reality.
Augmented reality is how we tell our weather story. So for instance, right now in Philadelphia, it's partly cloudy, 32 degrees. Now you see it, and now you don't.
We've already showed you augmented reality, but on days where there's rain in the forecast, we can show you what it looks like with rain coming down in the studio. Take a look, the rain splashing, there's even puddles. We can even make it snow. When snow is in the forecast, 1 to 3 inches, we'll show you what that looks like as well.
I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley. When Brittany and I start our day, it's actually the middle of the night. We get here at 3 in the morning. We get here so early because the weather's always changing. We review the latest weather information coming into the First Alert Weather Center and update the forecast, and we go on at 4 o'clock. 3 hours straight of updated forecasts for people that are starting their day. We look at the latest computer models and observations from our area, but where does all that information come from?
Satellites are in outer space, taking pictures of the Earth and sending back information to weather centers around the world. You can pull up the images on the internet. Just look at the clouds moving on this satellite image. We can also learn about ocean temperatures. This information helps us forecast when a storm is going to move into your neighborhood. To track rain and snow, we use a network of radars from all over the world. This is what a Doppler radar looks like, kind of like a golf ball on a tee. Weather radars send a radio wave out to raindrops, and when it bounces back, we can tell how far the storm is and how heavy the precipitation is. Pretty cool, right? Did you know we also use weather balloons to study the atmosphere? 800 weather balloons and small radios are launched around the world every day. The balloon flies through the sky and it reports the temperature, humidity, pressure, and wind back to computers.
Hey guys, I'm First Alert meteorologist Crystal Klein. Some of you may be wondering, how do we know if it's going to rain or snow and for how long? Well, we use something called computer models, and our specific technology is amazing. We use something called a futurecast model that gives us lots of different options as to what a storm might look like and how it's going to track across the country. So take a look at this futurecast model. We start by looking at the west coast. As moisture starts to move our direction, it really grows in size with a mix of snow, ice, and rain. We continue to move this forward. Look at us, just getting periods of heavy rain. It's these futurecast models that help us determine what you'll see in your neighborhood.
We put you first with the most accurate forecast for your neighborhood 4 years in a row.
As soon as the weather rolls in, we are in place to give you the best weather coverage in your neighborhood. Not only do we have 2 stations and 8 meteorologists working around the clock for you, we also have some amazing technology like our helicopter Skyforce 10, our all-weather vehicle Stormforce 10, and even our own X-band mobile radar on wheels, Storm Ranger 10, that takes images others can't see from inside the storm.
You know, we work hard to be the first to alert you to the potential of severe weather. We call it a first alert, and we turn all of our graphics red. That's a heads up to you so that you can pay attention following us on our app, online, and on the news to keep you and your family safe.
So next time you see our red graphics, make sure you pay attention to the information.
It's not just NBC 10 in the building, we also have Telemundo 62. Now we broadcast completely in Spanish. Does anybody want to learn a little bit of Spanish for today? Let's try a few phrases here. Does anybody know how to say it's sunny? Está soleado. Of course, now and again we have rainy days across the area. Does anybody know how to say it's raining? Está lloviendo.
What about wild Philadelphia weather?
I'm Glenn Hurricane Schwartz, and I've been at NBC 10 for almost 25 years, and I've been forecasting the weather for almost 50 years. And during that time, I got a chance to write a book about Philadelphia weather. Philadelphia area weather book, going back hundreds of years, and what kind of weather that we had, even the Revolutionary War days, and including about Ben Franklin, who was one of the biggest names in weather ever. You know, he discovered what nor'easters were long time ago. Well, I got some of those records in this book. What about the hottest? You think it's ever gotten above 100 degrees in Philadelphia? Yeah, it has. 106 degrees. But that was way back in the 1930s. And the coldest? Minus 11 below zero. That's not a wind chill, that's the actual temperature. But we haven't been below zero in Philadelphia since 1994. That's 25 years it has not been below zero. What about the strongest wind? 94 miles an hour. That was in 1954, Hurricane Hazel, which came up from North Carolina and raced up into Pennsylvania. Now, 94 mile an hour wind, that's enough to pull a tree out of the ground and throw it down the street. It's also strong enough to lift up a school bus and throw it down the street. But of course, if there was going to be a 94 mile an hour wind with a hurricane coming that day, you wouldn't be going to school anyway.
Sometimes you'll hear a first alert for severe thunderstorms involving lightning. Lightning strikes the U.S. 25 million times a year. Thunder is the sound lightning makes, but we see the flash before we hear the sound because light travels faster than sound. The number one safety tip during thunderstorms is when thunder roars, go indoors. What about under a tree? Is that a good place to stand during a thunderstorm? As you can see, it's better to head indoors. What about a plane?
Flying thousands of feet above the ground, planes are a natural target for lightning bolts.
On average, a commercial aircraft, that's an airplane in commercial service, gets struck once per year.
Actually, there's aluminum on the outside, so it passes right through. Not to worry, the same is true with cars.
I'm being hit by lightning. So it works.
But the safest bet is just to head indoors if you can. Flash flooding is another dangerous weather event. It happens when it rains a lot in a short amount of time and the water has nowhere to go. The safety rule is turn around, don't drown. What do you think? Is it a good idea for this driver to drive through this flooded roadway? Not a smart move. And remember, floods are the #1 weather-related killer.
I'm Tim Furlong. I'm the Delaware reporter for NBC 10. I'm also a licensed drone pilot. And this right here is my drone. There are a lot of rules and regulations we drone pilots have to follow, but you can do some pretty cool stuff with a drone. We can use it for beautiful photography and video, but you can also use drones to see how weather affects an area, to see tornado damage, or even inspect rooftops to see if there was any damage from storms. Some drones have searchlights and loudspeakers, and some can drop life preservers to people caught in a rip current. The drone also allows us to get better shots from different perspectives. There's no way I could get a shot like this from a camera on the ground, right? And a drone is much cheaper and more practical than flying a helicopter. And let's be honest, drones look pretty cool, right? And they're very fun to fly.
And sometimes meteorologists get to leave the studio.
And we are upside down with your 4-sound forecast!
Going 600 miles per hour in a fighter jet.
NorCal departure on 127.97. 27, 97. Welcome back!
It was a little too fast, and yes, I passed out.
All right, I think I
You passed
out for a second.
You sure did.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Then there's reporting live from the field during Super Bowl. Go Eagles! And when it gets very cold, we still like to have a little fun, this time with Gritty.
Within 20 minutes, completely frozen solid here.
Weather, as you can see, is awesome and always changing. I think it's safe to say you now know a little bit more about the weather and meteorologists. Now it's your turn to try.